to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and my fabulous crew here. I love that they keep showing up every week. So I'm putting up with me. We've got Melissa Barker, the archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, everybody.
Good to have you here. We've got Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy. Hi, Mary.
Hi there.
Hi. We've got Bernice Bennett from Genealogy. Hey, Bernice.
Hello.
So good you came tonight. And we have got Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hey, Laura.
Hi.
Good to have you here. And we've got Dan Earl, our family history guy. Hey, Dan.
Oh.
Good to have you here. Well, you know, we're keeping on up with relative race. We are on day 6, which I can't believe we've made it to day 6. And I'm telling you, they're trying to kill us. It's just, it is something else. So the emotions, you just have to have your box of Kleenex. I mean, you have to know from the beginning that this is going to be, especially this season has just been crazy and surprising, and the things that they're doing are surprising and just different than they've done before. So let's get started with day 6. We've got Team Black, who came in first place on day 5. So they have got a 5-minute advantage. They get to leave 5 minutes early. They get their text message and they don't get to eat breakfast because it's time to go, because they get to leave 5 minutes early. Team Green is eating bacon and all sorts of fun things.
Breakfast looked wonderful.
Didn't it? And it was the first time ever I get to eat breakfast with my brothers. So that was great. That was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, poor Jarrell is, you know, coming off of that, the whole story that he got from Tina and his uncle, and how, you know, she had been his foster mom and held him when he was a baby and loved on him. And so he's coming off that emotion. I can't imagine he wants to leave. And then we've got Team Blue ready to go. Go ahead, Melissa.
I was just going to say with Team Red, his uncle said something very profound before they left. And I wrote it down. He said, the past cannot be forgotten, but the future can be gained.
Right.
Yes,
and I really
loved that.
Yeah.
I love that. And he's so right, you know, because for all of these teams, there is a big emotional baggage that they've been carrying with their history. And so they are moving forward through it and learning to process it and meeting new families. So when Team Green left, I was like, I want to get them. I want to navigate for them and get them out of Rio Rancho and headed towards Arizona. I really wanted to do that for them. Oh, but I couldn't because I didn't know they were there. Anyway, when they filmed. So, and I don't live there anymore. But anyway, it's really fun, guys, when they are in an area where you've lived before. So this has happened a couple of times for me. Does that happen for anybody else? I can't remember. Dan. Yeah.
They were in Flagstaff, and I lived in Flagstaff for 4 years. So
yeah,
my husband's from Flagstaff, or grew up in Flagstaff. Yeah.
I didn't live there. But I know it kind of like the back of my hand when they started out in downtown Nashville at that park. I know exactly where that park is. I've been in that park. It's near the Titan Stadium, and I've been to the Titan Stadium. And so, yeah, I know. I didn't live there, but I know exactly where they were.
Yeah, that's so fun, because you want in your head, you're wanting to help. You wanted to help.
Yeah.
And I remember, and my goal in life is to be the person that they run up to and say, "Can you tell me what's that person? I'm going to be that hero that can tell them step by step where they're supposed to go."
But that person is always cut out.
I
Relative.
No, I didn't.
The way to be a downer, Laura.
Laura. Oh gosh, so I loved the tweeting between Team Green and Team Blue. You know, we're keeping, you know, second place form for you. You know, they were just having such a good time with each other. So I really liked that, how that started out. And then Team Red's phone starts ringing. Like, our phone is ringing.
Yeah.
For real, our phone is ringing. And it was Jarrell's uncle calling him just to, you know, give him a pep talk about day 6. And I don't know. Somebody will have to let us know. I don't know if that's ever happened before. I don't ever remember a team getting a phone call from the relative that they just met. I don't remember that any of them getting a phone call. The only thing I can remember is hearing from, the whoever is in charge of the producer of their team telling them slow down or whatever, and that comes through the audio in the car. But I don't ever remember anybody getting a phone call. So that was very interesting. That was really interesting that happened. The game though, the challenge, I would have not. That was not a game for me. I don't know. It was like a big giant Sudoku board.
I don't do those.
With too many numbers and too much adding and subtracting and
Mark and I would have been great at that one.
Oh yeah.
I thought it looked fun.
Yeah, Laura would have been great. Not
the key to that one was figuring it out before you put them in.
Exactly.
So you wouldn't have to keep undoing it. And my husband and I decided that he would be the math guy and I would just say, where do you want it? I'd put it in there.
There you go. That's what I would have done because my husband's really, really good at math. Really good at math. So, but so they get through. They were struggling though. The teams were struggling. It took them a while to figure it out. It would have taken me. I wouldn't have been able to do it. You know what would have happened? I would have had to take the time penalty.
Yeah.
Unless this was my husband and he figured it out because he's really, really good. Or some of my kids are really, really good at math. So maybe they would have been able to do it for me. Not me. Not I.
Not me.
Well, then they get through that and they all have trouble trying to find their relative's house. All 4 teams are having issues trying to find their relative's house. They're trying to ask people, and the people, Team Blue, there was nobody to ask.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like a ghost town when they got there.
Well, it's funny, because my husband's been watching and pretending he's not watching, but he's watching. And he's even getting emotional, and so. But he's been in Gulfport, Mississippi, and he said because I said, "Well, it looks like they couldn't find anybody." He says, "Well, that's Gulfport." He says, "It's like a ghost town down there." Ever since the last hurricane that they experienced, it's been pretty bad down there.
Oh gosh. Wow. Looks like we lost Bernice. She was having a storm, so hopefully everything is okay. Yeah. Maybe she'll hop back on in a few minutes. So.
But I'll tell you something about this thing about them in these towns, and they look like kind of small towns. I mean, some of these names are really small towns, and you'd think everybody would know how to get everywhere. But this particular time period, and I'm gonna say within the last 5 years, there are a lot of people moving out of big cities into smaller towns. And I can tell you that where I lived here, there are people moving here from California, from New Jersey, from New York. I mean, and so if you come up to one of them, they're not going to be able to tell you how these back roads.
We don't need to ever know that anymore. I mean, just because of nav systems in the phone.
That's true.
So
yeah,
people,
that's
right.
your
neighborhood.
I've wondered too at how many people look at them when they ask questions and they're weirded out because in their heads they're probably thinking, why aren't you using your phone? Why aren't you, so I'm wondering how many times they go up to the person though, and we just don't see it because it's edited out. And they say, look, we're on a TV show. We're not allowed to use GPS and we just really need your help. But they just were having a hard time.
They ask mailmen and they ask police officers, people who, probably if they lived there a long time or not, but ones that like a mail person, but they only have their one route. They may not know exactly. They may do their route and not even know the names of the streets. They just do their route,
Exactly. And so I think all of them pretty much thought that they had done terribly because they just couldn't find it. We had a little bit of tension going on with Team Green. They were trying
They knew they got it though. Steven said he was pretty sure that they did okay.
That's true. That's true. Team Blue had, they all were having struggles. So I felt really bad for him. Team Blue, as they get to the door, and it was really interesting because they had said that they were all stressed. They pulled up, they're in the driveway, and all that frustration and that stress went immediately to peace. And I thought, as they realized, they were what they were there for. They were there to meet that relative. And when that guy comes out, I thought, does he have another brother?
That's exactly what I said. How many brothers does he have?
Many brothers. But he was a paternal first cousin.
Yes.
Who had some issues in his life.
He had quite a story. And I'm glad he told it because there are people out there that are in the middle of his kind of story, and it's
they need to hear that.
Some hope. Yeah.
Exactly. They need to hear that. So I thought that was wonderful that they could be there for him and support him, and he could tell his story, and JT's so excited. I mean, it's another family member.
He embraced him. Yeah.
I know.
It just, that was, you know, and he just admired him so much for what he'd gone through and what he'd made of himself. It was really neat to see JT get so captured up in somebody else's story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They're all, you know, these teams are just got my heart. They're all just such good people. You can just tell they're all such good people, and their stories are amazing, and the way they're treating their relatives and the people that they find is just, it's just so beautiful to watch them run. As hard as some of it has been for them, it's been beautiful to watch them make those connections. We have Team Black who met, and the minute, I don't know about you guys, but the minute her sister came bounding down, I knew who it was.
Oh,
Did y'all know who it was?
I said, it's Monique.
It's Monique.
I had to laugh when Dan asked about it. Who'd you meet behind the door? It's like they didn't meet her behind the door.
No.
She ran out to them.
Only one person was behind the door, but I think it's the first one from all season. Usually people are in the back, in the front yard, but she ran, like you said, she ran down the hill.
She bounded down and came, and big hugs, and they knew. And so they're calling the four of them, what was it? The quad, what did they say it was?
Quad squad.
I don't remember.
Quad squad.
That's right.
Quad
That's
squad.
right. The quad squad. Isn't that so cute? I love that.
Cute.
It's really, really cute. And I was so happy for them to meet her, and they wanted to meet her so badly. And I was hoping that this would happen. But the hard thing was, as they started talking about their parents, you know, what was going on with that, because this is the older sister. Monique's the oldest one. And she was telling the girls, you know, Mom has always looked for you. She was always looking for you up until, you know, she passed away. We knew about you, you know, the sister had always known. And so then they started asking about their biological father. And I think that it might be a rough meeting.
Well, I loved that they included that, because I think otherwise it just becomes kind of trite that everybody meets and everything is going to be perfect. And it's never going to be messy. It's never going to be hard.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I really thought it was wonderful that the girls were willing to share that with us and share those thoughts of, I mean, you could see it sinking in when they ask, you know, well, do you have a relationship with him?
Yeah.
And you could see the cogs turning. Okay.
Yeah.
A relationship with her and knew about us. So I really loved that they included it. I love that the girls were open enough to have that taped and share with people, because sometimes that's how the answers are.
That's true. And those questions, you know, where were you? Our mother went through all of this struggle. Where were you? And that's what they want to ask him, is where were you, and what was going on that you couldn't help her, support her in her need, and come help us or come find us. So there's still a lot of questions.
Once a child has been adopted, I mean, you can't go find the child.
No,
even if you wanted to. I mean,
exactly. Those records are sealed.
So that might be part of the answer is I missed the window. But still.
Yeah. And it's like, what? But I think they want to know why did you miss that window?
Right.
What was going on in your life? Yeah.
It wasn't a crack. It was a window. There's time in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
going to be interesting to see how all this plays out for them.
Now, you've watched the show for seasons. And I haven't watched some of the earlier seasons. Have there ever been situations where the contestants did not want to continue relationships with the family members they had met?
You know, I don't know if we know that. I don't think that anybody's ever shared that. I think that we've seen the Where Are We Now shows and things like that, and they will talk about going and visiting certain relatives. I don't think that they say, well, but then we don't have I don't think I've ever heard one say, but we don't have a relationship with this person anymore.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because at
you
the
know,
very
but I'm
beginning,
sure there's got to be some of that. It doesn't always work out. You know, it would be
and I
crazy to
remember
think.
Dan saying at the when we had him on, that Team Black were looking more for answers than for relationships.
Right. Right. You're right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And they're getting their answers. Mary?
I just, you know, in the past, in other seasons, I mean, with exception, I think of Monica last year, every other team member has met somebody that was on their side. But have we seen, I mean, it's basically Stephen and Jarrell.
Yeah, because Susan hasn't met anybody.
Right. Susan and Amani hasn't met anybody.
Yeah. Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know maybe they were not hoping to meet anyone. They wanted all to focus on the person who had the greatest need.
I thought in the first episode of this season that one of the
I think so too.
Somebody.
Now that you're saying that, it feels like it's been so long ago.
I know.
I don't remember.
And I want to say it was
Amani
Green Team. I want to say it was the Green Team. That his
I
wife met somebody, one of their.
I was thinking it was Amani.
I think it was Amani.
Maybe
it was, because I thought to myself, oh, that seems kind of like not right for the very first
wasn't
relative to not be his relative.
Yeah.
Well, Green Team met his uncle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So So it wasn't them. So yeah, we're gonna have to. Somebody will let us know. Somebody out there watching will let us know. They'll let us know. You know, you start getting who met who, when, and where. Yeah. So
it's almost like you need a chart.
It's like you need a chart. Very, very good. Yeah.
That's what they should do for next season, is give us all a break, and that each team is just 2 professional genealogists, and then we just go someplace and meet a 6th cousin twice removed, and then the whole show is us just sitting down figuring it out. Right? Like, I think you can take my idea, relative race, and just give us all a break, right? I mean, none of us would find, you know, a missing parent or sibling or anything like that. You know, it's just all 6 cousins twice removed. That would be.
You missed my story earlier, Dan.
She's just got one like that. Let's see, where are we? Oh, let's talk about Team Green. What a happy reunion that was for them. So they get up to this house, and this young girl comes down, and it's his niece. It's Jen's daughter, Sam. And he's so excited. He goes, your mom told me about you. And they're all excited. She goes, well, I've got a surprise for you. So they go around to the back, and who's there?
Jen, his sister, her mom.
Yeah. And so they're talking, and here's the thing. Here's the really cool thing. So whoever came in first for day 6, the reward for that is a 5-minute video call with anybody they want. And so Stephen said, well, we've been talking about, Susan and I have been talking about this. And if we come in first place, we think we want to do the video call with you, Sam, and Jen, and let's introduce you to your uncle that you don't know, your Uncle Craig, right? I thought, oh, that's so cool. I hope they show that to us. And then they're like, oh, there's somebody else here. And dagnabbit, corner out of the corner, Uncle Craig. So there he is. It was so wonderful. So they were able to meet him, and I just love the reactions. Oh, I can see the family. I see my mom and you, Jen was saying, and we've got to remember that they never knew each side of the family even existed. No. Right. They never knew we had a sister.
Stephen said that Jen thought that the Philbrooks were just a figment of imagination, that there wasn't any Philbrooks.
They were made up.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
It was so sweet. So I have to tell you that Joe Henline tweeted and said, that is the magic of relative race. What they did, and they have done that in different seasons where the teams have met the relatives that they were looking for, but then those relatives met other relatives that they didn't know existed. And so it's just happened so many times in various seasons. And I think that's really cool that they will do that, you know, and have that as part of the show and not just something that happens afterwards, that we get to see. You know, how many times have we heard, you know, you are my cousin, you're my whatever, and they say, and you are the first biological, you know, relative that I've ever met. And so it just, it goes both ways a lot of times. So I love that they do that kind of thing. Well, I left Team Red to last because that was quite emotional. Quite emotional. You know, when the woman walked down the stairs, I thought to myself, that's got to be his biological mom. I thought, who else could that
I knew
be?
exactly. Well, they've been showing pictures of her, so I knew exactly that's who she was.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
interesting how they staged it though, because they showed us her hands.
Yes.
And I said, that's
true.
Mom.
Yeah, I know. I thought that too.
First it was the hair though, and then it was the hands. And I looked at the hands and I, you know, that those aren't the hands of a 20-year-old.
Beautiful nails.
That's got to be the biological mom. Yeah. So for, you know, it was what he was been looking for. It's those answers and the questions, you know, the whys and the what happened and who was my biological mom, and being able to meet her, I think brought him the closure that he needs. I think there's still a lot more to learn from each other and what happened with their story. But he's got to that point. And I think that is, that's what he needed. And I'm wondering if that's why he had that phone call, because maybe they knew where he was going next. Remember, he had asked Tina, and she said, that's not my story to tell.
Right.
That's something you need to find along the way. So I'm wondering if they knew the day was going to be very, very emotional. And he just come off that emotional, sobbing, cathartic day of day 5, and maybe they just felt like, let's just give him that boost as he goes into meeting his biological mom. So it was quite emotional. And as she told her story, he's crying, you know, listening to her, and it was, I don't know, it was another one of those moments on Relative Race that you just go, oh my gosh. And you're so grateful that they would even allow anybody to see that, you know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. I'd probably be like, I just don't know, guys.
I think in spite of it all, I think they did a really good job of, you know, holding up, you know, because I just can't imagine all the different emotions that he was feeling and, and crying and just, and so, you know, I hope that that he and his mother can develop a relationship of whatever, you know, from here on out. I mean, you know, I go back to what his uncle said, you know, that the past is in the past pretty much, you know, nothing anybody can do about the past. And so, you know, maybe the future will help them to be able to have some sort of a relationship that, you know, to help heal, to help have some closure, just if just that.
Yes, Laura?
Didn't his real mom, his adoptive mom, didn't she say something? Like they had a flashback where she was telling him it was okay and he should. And she said something about that's how you're gonna build your future. It was similar words.
Yeah, I have been very impressed with her and the clips that they've shown of her and how supportive. It's almost like she said, go on this relative race, and it's like she signed him up. She's so supportive. Yeah,
his mother knows him. You need to do
this. His mother knows him absolutely and knows what he needs to move forward and to because it holds you back. When you really want answers, it holds you back. And so now he can move forward as he goes through and he understands and he figures out how he got to where he is. And I love the fact too that he's so grateful for his adoptive mom, but not grateful in the grateful that you adopted me, just grateful for the life that he had. Like we all are grateful for the lives that we had. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So yes, he's grateful for her, but not in that way of, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't want it to make it sound
not like you took me in, but you're my mom, kind of.
Yeah. It's that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. So he's happy with the life that he had, but he just needed this part of his story because it's part of him. It's part of him. So and who he is. So we hope the best and wonder where he's going to go from here. He's found his biological mom. So I wonder who's next. Oh, and while before we were talking about Team Black, I forgot to add that they found out they've got more siblings.
Yes.
It's not just,
they have a slew more.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, we've got time for them to find their dad and find some more siblings. So I'd forgotten to mention that when I was thinking about who Jarrell could meet next. I thought siblings, maybe there's some siblings out there. And then it made me think of Team Black. But anyway, so again, another very emotional episode with still questions that need to be answered. It's still going to be a bumpy emotional ride, as we continue. So we get into the results, and it was just so beautiful as they were showing everybody who they met. Again, they were clapping for each other, and just the emotions were just oozing out, and speaking of clapping, when Jarrell's when she said, I'm your mom, did you guys see Armani going?
Yeah.
She was jumping up and down and clapping. Well, she did the same thing when Jarrell introduced the biological mom, and they were so just happy. And then Stephen's like, yes, I'm at peace, but wait, there's more. And they kept turning what, Dad? One more. And you could just see the other teachers just going, so you could tell how happy they were for him. What a fun night. I can't even imagine day 7 that he wanted to leave. I guess we'll see that next week. But I can't even imagine he wanted to leave that situation, and what could they do more for him after that? So well, they got to find his dad is what they've got to do more for him, right? So
that kind of reminded me, him having all those relatives reminded me of, and I believe it was Anitra. Was that her name? In last season that went to this like family reunion, and they were all there.
And it happened last year for Liz too. Remember they went to the church? That was the church, and they went to Team Red. Yeah, they went to the church, and everybody was there. Just everybody was there. That was just wonderful. That was wonderful. So you know what? I was really hoping there'd be a tie again this on day 6. Anybody else rooting for the tie? Yeah. No tie. No tie.
No.
Well, does anybody want to go through the results? Does anybody want to? I'll do it, but I mean, I feel like
Team Green got first place.
Of course. Yes.
And then Stephen said, because their prize was to be able to call whoever they wanted to, right, for 5 minutes. And since they were going to use that for Uncle Craig, and Uncle Craig showed up, they said, can we donate? And at first when I heard that, I thought they were trying to, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought they were trying to donate if they were to win. And so I thought, no, wait a minute. So they said the phone call. And so they donated it to Team Red, who could call whoever they wanted to. And they called their kids. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, and Stephen said, it'd be disruptive to our kids to do this call to the 3-year-old. It wouldn't do well. So it was, and Team Red wanted it so bad. I mean, they had said, I want to see the kids. And so it just worked out just beautifully. I mean, you just can't love Stephen more with that kind of
that was
generosity.
That was beautiful. Yeah, that was so sweet. That was wonderful for them to do that. And the interesting thing on that call, who's watching the kids? It's his mom. And so the moms got to meet via Zoom.
They did.
So that was an interesting little twist that the moms got to meet. So
yeah, that was interesting.
Break the ice that way through the Zoom call, right? So
number 2 was Team Red, which that saves them from getting kicked off the show, so they get to stay, thankfully. And then number 3 was Team Blue, which they thought they were going to get an X.
Strike.
They thought first strike. They thought they just knew it.
Right.
Kaylee's face was so
Face.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so expressive.
And then of course Team Black got the
Yeah.
strike. So
Right. So
That's
they've got 2.
two.
That's 2
Yeah.
for them and 2 for Red. Blue,
Yeah.
here we are. We're going
They
into
will
day
meet everyone.
7.
yeah,
And
0.
they're going to meet everybody. And I somebody out there in relative race world, tell us, has there been a team that's gone all the way to day 10 with no strike? I'm sure there has. I just don't remember who they would be.
I don't
So
know.
and if not, what's the longest anybody's gone, without getting a strike? What's the record? We'd like to know that. So all you relative race fans that keep statistics.
Yes.
But they haven't yet won a day either, have they?
No.
They're
Always
just riding
second.
they're just
Yeah.
riding
They're
in
usually
the saddle
second.
there.
Yeah, they've been
Yeah,
second. until now. Yeah.
Yeah.
This time they were
they're-
3rd, but they were expecting a strike. So they were
That's right.
they were very,
Yeah.
very surprised. But no, they've been running
Right.
second. And so it's going to be
Exactly.
interesting. The last 3 days are
They're-
going to be interesting, or last 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'll tell you, I can't believe that we're at day 6. We're at day 6. This is going to be over before we know it. So
I
But you
know.
know, I wonder what else can we cry about?
oh,
Well,
there'll be something.
Well,
I
Stephen's
just
father,
think
we
it's
can
one
cry
Stephen's
about.
father
Things happening.
and the girl's father. We
That's
want
right.
those 2. And then who else can we predict that we may see?
Could we see
know.
the younger brother and the 2 older sisters? Or
Oh, that's right
Yeah.
for Team Black. And I'm not sure for Jarrell. What's next? What would be the next? Maybe he's got some siblings out there that we don't know about.
I don't know.
Well,
His
and
fa-
JT
his
could
father's
have
not
a
living,
total
is he?
family reunion. There could be a big brother thing for JT.
Would be
There
fun.
could be like 15 brothers.
But yeah, that's too funny because he's got to meet his dad, right? JT's got to meet his dad. So yeah, that's gonna be
Yeah.
emotional.
So there's
that's
3
right.
fathers to be met, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And Team Red's father's not living, right?
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
Oh, we don't know. Okay.
We don't know.
I can't keep it all straight.
Yeah.
Me too. I just get so confused. I'm like, well, who have they met? And
See, this is why that 6 cousin season is such a good idea, because it would be totally divested of emotions. No one's going to cry over meeting a 6th cousin twice removed, except for maybe
You're
Mary.
gonna watch
And
it.
then like she'd be so excited. She'd be like, "This is what I was born to do," and she's got out her notepad. Mary wouldn't want to be on that at that season. She'd want to watch that season and redo all the
Do
genealogy.
the research for it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then no one's going to
Exactly.
cry over that. And so we just get a nice season of just like, oh, okay, recharge our emotional batteries for the following season. So I'm telling
Alrighty,
you,
I don't- Yeah, I don't
You
think
sell
that's
that,
gonna
Dan.
fly.
me up.
It's certainly going to be interesting.
It will be. Anybody have any other thoughts about anything that happened that I forgot to bring up or we didn't bring up? It was another fabulous day. We saw a wonderful side to each of the teams, and they're so good to each other, even with those moments of stress. And I can't even imagine how stressful that is to be in that car, knowing that the time is running down, knowing that and wondering who you're going to meet. The stress has got to just be crazy. So I'm surprised there's not more. Maybe there is and we don't get to see it. But I think the teams are doing wonderfully. They are just incredible this year. I'm just really loving them. So I want them all to go to day 10 and I want them all to win the
Yes.
money. So
Yes.
And what I'm
Yeah.
enjoying too is the fans. When you go to the fans of relative race,
Yes.
the fans really love the love. They're not saying, why aren't you guys more competitive or anything? They're really endorsing this, that they love seeing the reactions and
Yeah.
the support
Yeah.
from the other
Right.
teams.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're really great.
Yeah.
And
like
I like that they're showing that though.
Mhm.
So although they're competing with each other, they want each other to have a successful outcome.
Yes.
Right. Right. Well,
And I
and
love
like,
that. I really love that. And I also I mean, I just have to say hats off to the researchers, the investigators. I mean, they have really done an outstanding job.
They have.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
I just love that show because when you see that, you see somebody really got to work it. You know?
Exactly. And they all work hard. The production crew, you know, the camera crew, all those people, because, you know, they get invested in their stories. You can't be filming that and not get invested in those stories. You know,
absolutely.
I can't imagine that. So, and, you know, Dan did say last night during at the end of day 5, whatever that was for them, day 6, I mean, he did say, you know, you guys, he was talking about their support of each other and saying, you can understand what it feels like to not know and to then find family. So that connection right there, not only to the teams that are in this season, but all the previous teams, I think that they have that bond that they're the only ones that could understand what it feels like and what being on Relative Race is like. So anyway, well, with that, it was a fabulous crying again. I mean, guys, I'm serious. I am serious. The minute the music starts coming on, there we go.
I've lost genealogy.
I know the minute I see Stephen, he's gonna be crying over something, and he's gonna get. So, but it's a good happy cry. It's a good happy cry. So anyway. All righty. Thanks, everybody. And we would love to hear your thoughts on day 6. Just put them in the comments section. And we will see you next time to talk about day 7 and the events and the emotions and the challenge. We'll do that next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
And it's doing it again where it doesn't want to.